Welcome to the Media Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And Kenton, I had our students do something interesting this week, or last week really, but I rewarded them this week with some gift cards for their efforts. I had them do a podcast promo exercise in which basically I just kind of surprised this with them at the beginning of class. I said, create a promo for your favorite podcast, write 30 seconds of copy, put some music underneath it, and produce it and basically export it as an MP3 just to show them what they could do with their skills. Like really at this point in the semester, they know how to script, they know how to read something out loud into a microphone, and they know how to put music underneath it. And that's an ad. That's essentially an ad in a lot of places. That's all you need to do. So this is really to show them what they could do and how quickly they could do it. So it was really interesting. We had a lot of good submissions from students. I think they are certainly learning a lot from you as far as advertising goes. That was evident in some of these.
Are they, Dan?
Yes.
But are they?
Yes, I think so. I think some of them were excellent. I will play them for you afterwards, and then you can let me know.
This year's crew, and I was only kidding there, but because this year's crew is very an engaged group. I told them that this morning. It's good for that. So that's nice. We've kind of returned to that after some post-COVID years. So that's nice. So tell us about the gift cards.
I gave them Tim Hortons gift cards.
It was all Tim Hortons?
Yeah.
I
got them this morning.
I thought some were Tim's and maybe Best Buy.
No, come on. What do you think I am here? Come on. I'm not
maybe a Ticketmaster.
No. Maybe it was $5, $10, and $15 Tim cards.
Okay, so $15 was the grand prize.
Yeah,
that's very generous.
That's pretty good, and so it was just getting to see where their skills are at and to encourage them. They said they had fun doing it. Some of them really got into it. The student who won the number one prize, and this was a good lesson for them because I gave them the full 2 hours of class. A lot of them were done in an hour. And to give them credit, they didn't collapse. I thought some of them might collapse under the pressure and not be able to do anything, but they still did it. But a lot of them just did it, recorded it, submitted it, and that was it, and they're done in an hour. The student who won spent the entire 2 hours on their 30-second piece. It had multiple music tracks in it. It had other aspects of it as well. It was very cleverly done. It was well written, and it was a great ad.
Fantastic! Wow, is that ever good?
It's for a podcast called "How Does This Get Made?" Or what? Paul Scheer. Wait, how did this get made? What's it called?
I used to listen to that podcast.
Paul Scheer is the main host, and Jason Mantzoukas and another person. It's a really confusing podcast title because it's not about making movies; it's about bad movies. How did this get made? Is the name of it? I think that's a question you ask if you see a bad movie, right?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand it, but anyway, it was a very good podcast promo. This week, I would like to talk to you about movies. Specifically going to the movies, Kenton. When's the last time you went to see the movies into the theater?
Well, Dan, you're gonna make me I'm hanging my head low.
Oh, I can guess. Actually, it was Indiana Jones.
That might be true. The last Indiana Jones,
which was last summer.
Hang on, let me just think. Was there? No, you're right. And here's my second horrible confession I had to make to a friend of mine. We got together last week at Silver Heights Restaurant for some ribs, as men sometimes do, and mostly men, I noticed. Well, then again, it was all men, now that I think about it. But I had to tell them that I still have not seen Deadpool and Wolverine. So, it's been a long time.
Now, did you have some FOMO or whatever because of that, or do you not care that you still have not seen this movie
you know what? I honestly don't care. But however, I will see. I care enough that I will see it.
Okay. Not until it comes to Disney Plus, though.
Yeah, but that'll be soon.
I don't think it's going to be until December.
Right, but it's on the rental market now, and even that,
$25, which is a ridiculous tier. I really would like them to get rid of that. And here's this interesting thing. So I want to talk about this because I went to the movies last weekend. I saw Beetlejuice, which is also currently available to rent on streaming. So it's a month in the theater. I don't even know if it was a full month. And then they go $25 tier to stream, which I guess a few people must be doing because otherwise they wouldn't be doing it still. But I don't know anybody who rents that, right? It's either you go see it in the theater or you wait until it comes to Disney Plus. You're not doing these middle tiers.
It's not an emergency to go see Beetlejuice.
Right.
It's I am interested. I want to see Michael Keaton, and I understand he's good.
He is, yes. It's very good. He was excellent. He was the best part of the movie.
Was the film very good?
I wouldn't say the film was very good. I say he is very good in it. It's like he walked off the set of the other movie.
Okay, so I knew he'd be great. But so what would you give the film?
I don't know. I think it was a good movie with too many storylines, too many like twists and turns, and some pretty superfluous characters. They didn't need to make it as complicated as it was. And I think that was the main issue. And then I didn't like the big lip sync number, which is similar to the Deo from the first film.
But they're gonna have to do it.
Do you know which song it is?
No.
Okay, well I don't want to spoil it.
No, tell me. It's fine.
They do MacArthur Park.
Oh, okay. I was wondering that kid.
It's so weird. It's so weird.
I saw that come up in a podcast on a YouTube YouTube whatever chat kind of thing. I was like, why are they talking about MacArthur Park? That's why. Yeah. Now I know.
But it's so weird, and we're sitting there watching it, and it's funny, right? You're laughing, and it's funny watching these people, and it took me a minute to realize what it was. And I'm like, oh, they're recreating this moment with the Harry Belafonte song, but that's such a better song.
Yeah,
Deo is so much better. It's so much more catchy.
Anyone can sing along to it. That's what's great about it.
And then MacArthur Park is just kind of overly complicated, and it had like. There was like imagery to go with it, like a rain cloud on a cake and stuff like that. Like there was all kinds of stuff to go with it. So there's a little bit too much of that.
Richard Harris sings that, by the way. MacArthur Park.
I didn't know that.
I wonder, was it the Richard Harris?
I don't think it was. No, I think
it was somebody else.
Yeah, I think it was a female voice.
I should say that Dave Thomas on SCTV does a parody of Richard Harris singing MacArthur Park on Mel's Rock Pile, played by Eugene Levy.
Nice.
In which he just goes up there, he slurs out one line with his thick British accent, and then he just dances with that long musical interlude played. It's very funny.
I'll have to look that up. But yeah, I thought the movie was okay, just okay. It was better than I was expecting. But you can certainly wait, Kenton. You don't have to go see it in the theater.
Yeah, once again, I'm definitely not in a police vehicle racing there.
And then this is the thing, like they try to make us, they try to market this film to us, make us feel like we should go to the theater. There's all kinds of marketing. Beetlejuice went hard. Like there was all kinds of merchandise and all kinds of. I had some Beetlejuice soda at one point. So they had all kinds of tie-ins.
I saw it.
When I went to see it in the theater, Kenton, it was dead.
Really?
And I don't just mean the theater. I mean the entire complex was dead. Yeah. There were 2 other couples in Beetlejuice on a Saturday night.
Oh my God!
Which is insane to me.
It's insane.
And it was the McGillivray theaters. So for those in Winnipeg, those know who they are. The VIP theaters, the ones where they serve you. So we had our popcorn served to us by somebody, and it's like there's nobody else in here. What is the point?
You might as well just go buy it yourself.
Exactly. It was just kind of ridiculous. But I think we just picked that one because it was the right time for us.
Right.
But yeah, I was just shocked. I'm sitting there going, okay, this is not a sustainable business model. There's no way they can continue with completely empty theaters on what is supposed to be the busiest night of the week. Like Saturday night should be your busiest night, and there was nothing.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's unfortunate, but here I am saying it's unfortunate, and I haven't gone in a year. But movie theaters, like airlines and like other industries. How about Rogers and the other telecommunications companies as well, that just keep shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. And so much of the theater's wounds were self-inflicted, I think.
Why?
I think because I used to go see, like, this is crazy to think about this now. When I was in CreCom in 1994, I'd see movies by myself. I just didn't care. My whole thing was I'm going to see if I could, I would see every release that came out into the theater. Like I was well informed. I was the first person to see them. I won the Movie Village contest for the Oscars because I'd seen every movie, and I was so I was just plugged into that world. And then slowly but surely the theater experience got worse, and the ushers stopped telling people to shut up, and that was a big problem for a while. Now they just turn up the movie so loud you can't hear it.
They drown out everybody.
They do.
Talking.
They drown them out.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, that's part of one of the. You're right. That's part of there's a few things that theaters have done to actively make the experience worse, and they're not considering that. They don't think about that when they put all this stuff together, right?
And the other idea that this is an entertainment destination, and I still remember I went to. So you book your seats at Polo Park. And so you're stuck in those seats, like no matter what happens, those are your reserved seats. So I was sitting there and I could hear the goddamn table hockey game in the next room. Tick, 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 people playing table hockey. Mm-hmm. And I was like, did somebody check to see if this is irritating to somebody watching the film? And the answer was no. Nobody checked. Nobody cares. Everybody who works there, and there's hardly anybody who works there now. Now it's down to like one person. Mm-hmm. and a bunch of robots waiting to take your money is basically it. And it is just, there's just no fun. The fun is gone.
Yeah.
It's and the ushers were in on the fun. And the concession people were in on the fun. They saw the movies and talked to customers about the movies like it was just a whole thing, and it's nothing. It's nothing now. It's an isolating experience.
Yeah, and I think for example, the new style of theaters with these big reclining seats that they have now are even further isolating because they're trying to keep you away from the other annoying people around you. Most of them have they're in pairs. Although the one we went to, the VIP, did not have this. It was like regular seating, but a lot of them are in pairs, so you're sitting next to somebody. God forbid you come in with a group of 3 people. One person's got to sit by themselves kind of far away, but that isolates you from the other people, and it also makes you feel like you're at home, right? That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to replicate they think by replicating the home experience they're going to bring people to the theater. No, why would you go there if you have the same thing at home?
We have it at home.
Stay at home. That's the least effort. People are going to stay at home if they have a recliner and a big seat, and big TVs are big enough, we're discovering, right? The big screen, we got to see it on the big screen. That is not a draw anymore. For anything. I don't
screen,
care.
big sound. Remember that for about 10 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I saw Furiosa in the theater. I forgot.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
so more recently.
Right.
So let me what you just said. Okay, so tonight I'm going to see Sebastian Maniscalco.
Oh, yes.
The stand-up comic.
Can I just say his YouTube ads are very poorly produced. It's so quiet. When I see his ad,
yes,
it comes through too quiet on YouTube. So it's not mixed well.
So Sebastian has a podcast like the one you just talked about. He's huge in comedy. He's like a cross between Seinfeld meets Kramer is kind of his thing, where he's got the observations and he's got the physical delivery. And so we're going to go see him. And the first thing, so you buy those tickets. They're expensive tickets. You buy them a year. I bought them a year ago. Okay, so it's a year.
So you have to remember the price.
So here it is. And so it's hey, is there a show tonight or something? Like in your phone, you've got some vague, 7:30? I don't know. Is something happening at 7:30? I got something in my phone. I don't know what it is. Okay, then you realize, I got to go see this comedy show tonight. And then you start going, I got to go home after work. Got to eat some dinner. Got to then pack everything up again. Then I got some stuff I got to do when I get there. I hope I have enough time. They go okay, then I get in the car. Oh, where's the parking? All right, got to do the park. How far is that from the? Okay, then you got to walk to the thing. And in the back of your mind, the thing you've been looking forward to seeing, you're like, I don't feel like going at all. And I think this is a common thing now for people because we're so used to being at home. And that's why, making it just like home is just reminding people that you have this at home. Yeah. You don't need to come here.
There's no reason to go to the theater. It's not fun. No. I'm thinking, going back to what you're saying about when you used to go all the time, there was a much lower bar of entry there. It was cheaper. Oh, yeah. It was, again, more accessible. I think the way they've designed theaters now is horrible because you walk in and you don't see anything. You see this big, massive space with all these video games and all these, that whole section is awful. I hate that. There used to be just a couple of arcade games and that was it. Give you something to do while you waited for the movie to start. Not let's generate a bunch of cash for the thing. It's all too profit focused. And so but you would go because it was easy. You would go because it's only $5, especially Tuesdays, $5, go see a movie, watch a movie, then leave and go do something else with your day. Now you would rather stay home and watch a movie than go out to do it. Yeah. Right? If you wanted tonight or today, I'm going to go home and watch a movie at home. Why wouldn't I go out to the theater? Well, now because it's too expensive. Yeah. I don't really care about seeing movies by myself. I don't think I've done that for a long time. No. But I used to do that all the time. But it seems like a bigger deal now. It seems like, okay, we're going to go out. So we're going to make an effort. Yeah. We're going to leave. We actually went up for dinner in a movie on Beetlejuice.
Did you have dinner before the movie?
No, after the movie.
Okay. Because I was going to say, then there's the stress of are we getting out of here in time so we can make it to the movie?
No, there's that, but we did that. We also, it was an early showing. It was at 5 o'clock or something. It was weird. So we also decided not to eat. We thought we might eat at the VIP restaurant because they do serve you food there too, but it just didn't look very good.
No, that's a problem too.
Yes, the quality of food. And honestly, offering too much. It should just be popcorn, soda, the basics, candy, the kind of stuff you used to get at movie theaters all the time. I honestly think they need to simplify things. And also, obviously part of the issue is that they're not releasing very many movies. And the movies they are releasing, they're putting all their money to these big budget blockbusters because they're convinced that that's the only thing that's going to make money. And it's true. I had an argument with a guy about the theaters, and I said I talked about this because I can't remember what he said. It was about Netflix refusing to release movies in the theater.
Yeah.
So Netflix won't release films in the theater, and neither will Prime. They just basically put theirs straight, and Apple TV as well, because they basically that new Brad Pitt one they just put straight to their streaming platform.
Yeah.
So this guy's talking about it and how it's like it's disrespectful. These films deserve to be seen on the big screen. They're not like treating them with the respect. I'm like, dude, it's a movie, and it's because nobody is going to the theater. Netflix thinks they killed the theater, and they kind of did. Like they really did like kill the movie-going experience by making our TVs so much more fun to watch.
Well, and our entertainment options now, and I've even noticed this, that I used to be, I'm not going to say obsessed, but I had, when people were talking about a show they liked, I was like, I'm watching that show. And I would just make it my business to like go find that show, knock it out as fast as possible so I could move on to the next. Like I wanted to stay on top of all that. And it's reached the point nobody can stay on top of all of it. So now, if anything, I'm more discerning. Like yesterday, I watched there's an HBO murder documentary that premiered last night. It's so well made. It's such a good documentary, and it like any good documentary, it strings you along and keeps surprising you with stuff that's happened. Like any of those good, and HBO does those so well, like does them at such a high level that I was like, I can't go see a documentary like this in the movie theater. It's on TV. The other choices that I have to watch are on TV. YouTube is now available on most TVs. Most people watch YouTube on their big TVs now. And it's just, I don't hanker to leave the house to see something that I can't see there because I have better options at home.
Yeah, the TV is just a much more attractive option at home because it's free, quote unquote free, because you don't have to pay anything extra. Yeah. Right? Whereas to go to the movies, it's going to be, again, gas, parking, cost of the freaking, even, we just got like a popcorn and a drink and it was still like $30 for the fucking food. Like, you know, I have an issue with this. I always have hated that movie theaters have been allowed to jack up the price of their food. It's just so they never make money on the tickets. So what? It's still gouging people for this freaking popcorn that costs pennies for this bag that I'm paying $20 for. It's insane to me.
It's like leave your waiters 45% tips because they're not being paid properly. I got a good idea. Pay them properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's the same thing there.
Exactly.
Well, we don't make enough money from our, like, what? You're not a charity.
No.
Like,
and it's gouging. Yeah. And it's one of the primary reasons I talk to people. One of the primary reasons why people don't go to the theater is because it's too expensive.
Yeah.
It's just, and to take a family out, forget it. Take my whole, like my 3 kids, everybody out, a couple $100 at least, right? So that's an issue. But what I wanted to say, I got into a little bit of an argument with this guy on TikTok about it, who was talking about the respect of releasing things in the theater. And I said, you know, Netflix has killed movie theaters. And then I got some responses back saying, Google the results. Your personal experience isn't reality. And I'm like, well, I think that a lot of people are having this other experience. And I did Google it, and it still shows that movie theaters are down. So what it shows, if you Google it, is that it shows it's steadily growing. And then we, of course, had the Marvel years, which was huge at the box office and got people out. And I think that's part of the problem. It's because until very recently, they had like a lock on this formula. Like, okay, we know what to do. We can make these movies that will make people go to the movie theater, but that doesn't work anymore. Those are done. Right, we need something else besides Marvel.
Even look at the Joker, the old Joker. Like
that's literally a joke. I think that's Todd Phillips trolling everybody. The whole thing's a joke.
Like, well, yeah, the joke's on the theater. The theater going, the people who are interested in the sequel. The joke's on them, I guess.
Well, yeah.
I didn't remember. We didn't even like the first Joker.
I hated the first.
Yeah. I didn't like. I hated the fact that it was just a reboot of King of Comedy. Martin Scorsese. It drove me nuts.
Taxi Driver.
Yeah, and Taxi Driver too, and Robert De Niro's in it. And
well, they thought they could get away with it because they cast Robert De Niro in the movie.
That's what, and it made me angry.
Yeah.
And Mark Maron's acting with Robert De Niro, like, talk about being outclassed. Like, I've got nothing against Mark Maron. I like him very much. But, I mean, come on. What are we watching here? Yeah. So even that one wasn't, I didn't think it was amazing. And we also met young Bruce Wayne, which I remember saying that to people online. If we see young Bruce Wayne, I'm out. And we see him. It's like we've seen this so many times at this point. So I didn't care for that one. And then so this next one rolls around. Everyone seems shocked that it didn't do well. But that's the problem. And You can look at it like he took a big swing and it didn't work, or you could look at it like he is trolling us.
I think he is trolling. I think Todd Phillips is an asshole. I think just by watching his movies, I get the feeling that he is an asshole. I'm sorry, I do. I hate his movies. I can't stand Todd Phillips. The Hangover is the only thing I like that he's ever done.
I like the fact, like, Lady Gaga is like box office gold wherever she goes, and here we go. You can't, even her appearance in that, they're probably thought, yeah, and we'll get women out to see this film too, and it just did nothing.
I think they need to abandon that kind of thinking about how to encourage people to go to the theater. These guys I was arguing with, the one thing they came back at me with was Inside Out 2 proves that a movie can be successful at the box office. That's a big Pixar movie. Yes. It's a sequel to a huge movie.
Yeah.
By the way, I haven't seen it yet. I don't care about Inside Out 2.
No, me neither. I'll never see it.
Well, I'll probably see it eventually, but with my kids. But it's not a relevant film to me, and that's not proof that movies are coming back. That's one single film. I mean, we used to have one of those every weekend.
Yeah.
And go back and look at the film releases for the 80s. If you go back and look at like this time in 1984, 85, look at how many movies are being released in the theaters and how many of those are awesome movies. Like, they're so much better films because it was such a consistent pipeline for the product. You go there, people would go to the theater on a regular basis. Now that's gone. Now they have to try and build that back. They have to try and get people to go back to the theater and try and create that pipeline again, where there's like, you start with a new release, you go see it in the theater, then you wait. They should really be waiting longer before putting it to demand. I think I've said the opposite on this podcast maybe a few years ago, but I've come around on this. They should be giving us more time so that we kind of build a desire or a longing to see it. Like, I haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine since it came out, and that's good. That means that I'll be really itching to see it when it finally gets released in Disney Plus. It'll be like 3 or 4 months since I saw it in the theater. But it is available on streaming, by the way, $25 if anybody wants to watch it now. But it's too soon. Like, I don't want to watch that soon after seeing it in the theater, right? So they just need to create this space between releases, and then release it on a, not $25, it's ridiculous, $5 or $6 for rental, right? That's the next tier. Just to replace the video store aspect of it. We had the video store. We liked the video store. It's gone now, unfortunately. But that was a great experience. And so if you want to be able to rent this, if it's a newer film, you can pay $5 and rent it. Then it goes to Netflix or whatever streaming service it goes to. That's the third tier. What used to be pay TV for us. So it used to be like Super Channel and that kind of stuff, right? That's where it would go. And then eventually it would go to TV, where you would see it with ads. And the modern equivalent of that is Plex or Pluto or Tubi, any of these ad-supported platforms where you see movies as well. And those are the tiers that should exist.
Yeah.
And none of it, they're all being too greedy about it. They're all like, no, we have to like get it out as soon as possible. We have to try and chase the virality in their marketing so that they can try and build upon whatever they're doing, right? And it's just failing. It's all failing.
Well, the classic movie-going audience in the theater has always been young men. And now they have video games. There's other choices that used to not be there. It used to be the ultimate date place to go, but now it's the same thing, I think. I don't think, it's actually harder to find something that a range of people might like that it used to be, so there's that element too. You can't charge a young audience the prices that they're trying to charge. That's a problem too. I mean, you can't say, they seem confused about the product they're selling too, so that's a problem. Like, are we selling this as an entertainment destination, or are we fans of the cinema? Like, are we going to celebrate film? And it's almost like that's only the Oscars does that anymore.
Well, they have those ads, like when you go to the movies, they have about 3 or 4 ads in one break that say, go to the movies, escape your life. And it's like, it's cheesy, and I get what they're trying to say. They're trying to sell the experience of going to the movies, but the experience sucks. The experience is not as good as they think it is.
It's not as good as they think.
It's just not. The sound is too loud. The seats are too comfortable.
The 10,000 ads and the
ads are too much.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And I first experienced that in Vancouver. That's when I was like, oh, this is shit. When I was there, they got had it first.
Oh, yeah?
And I remember going to see something there, and it was like an hour of just endless, like, lights on ads, lights off ads, finally trailers. But by the time the movie, and I couldn't figure out when no one was in the theater. It was like some first run film. And then they all showed up an hour because they knew that it was going to be an hour before this thing started. So they're already doing mental math. Like, I don't need to be there for an hour, like concerts or things like that. Yeah. And so that arrived here, and it's the same thing. It's so irritating.
Remember when we went to see Star Wars? I don't remember which one it was, but there was first of all the 10-minute Tenet trailer at the top of it that we didn't know it just started, and we're like, what are we watching here? Is this like, Star Wars?
We thought we were in the wrong theater. Everybody thought they were in the wrong theater, and you were all dying to see Star Wars.
Yes, and then there was that, and then there was another 10 minutes at least, or 20 minutes of ads before the movie, and that's just so again, it's about greed. It's about trying to make more money off of it, and I think they really need to pare it down, make it a simpler experience, make it a cheaper experience, and just put out good movies, and people will come back. I think that will work.
It's going to be hard to get people back. And I said, before we started recording this podcast, I said I saw someone on YouTube with sitting next to a skeleton in the theater, like the movie theater's dead or whatever. And I remember George Lucas and Steven Spielberg were the first to predict this.
Yes, and they were right.
Yes, and they said it's just going to be like major blockbusters that play in the theater, and everything else is just going to be on demand. And people,
they said you pay $40, $50 a ticket.
Yeah,
we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Oh yeah, we're getting there. And so maybe it'll be the movie theater isn't even open until that film arrives on the scene. And then they open it up, and then it's for the occasional thing. It's a special event. It's not
I don't think anybody's going to want to operate a business that can only open occasionally. Like, they want to have that open as much as possible. They want to...
Yeah, but it's empty, and they have operating costs.
I know.
That's another problem.
Yeah.
But then again, all those robots just sitting there collecting your money without any salaries to pay.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, those kids working at the ticket thing could give a rip about anything. If somebody's sitting in your seats, good luck. Yeah. Because there's nobody there to help you.
Yeah,
there's that element too.
I just couldn't believe how dead it was. I was so shocked. And this is like a I wouldn't say well-to-do area. Like, there's a lot of people there who have disposable income who could go out to the movies.
Yeah.
You'd think that would be a good location for a movie theater. It could be also the lack of the stuff in the theater. Like, really isn't anything else out there. Beetlejuice. I can't remember what else had come out, but that's been out for like a month already.
Yeah.
So that was a while. And yeah, I can't remember even what the trailers were for now. We saw a couple trailers. Oh, we saw the trailer for Wicked. That kind of stood out. That was a good one. I kind of want to see that. I might go see that in the theater.
I saw Wicked on Broadway with Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. After that, you're kind of like the originators of the role.
Yeah.
Like, and then you sort of see the reboot roll around about 20 years later, and you kind of go, I don't think so. Like, I have a good memory of that, and I don't need to see like a couple of lesser singers.
I mean, yeah, you can't recast though. I mean, they could have, I guess, but they're supposed to be younger. They're supposed to be going to high school or something, right?
Guess.
This is the witch and Glinda and all that stuff in school. It looks like Harry Potter for Wizard of Oz, really.
But I mean, Idina Menzel is the voice of what's her name and what's it called?
Oh, Frozen.
Yeah, that's right.
Elsa.
Yeah, that's right. So she, like, she's kind of like a star of that stuff. It's kind of unfortunate that she's too old to like be in a movie now. Like, I don't think so.
That's silly. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that.
De-age her, God's sakes. Like, do whatever.
Well, she's got green skin. Doesn't the character have green skin of the witch?
Yeah.
Right? So that's like you can't even tell with the green makeup on. Anyway. Okay, let's finish up with some recommendations for today.
Oh, are you going to recommend something playing in the theater?
No, I don't have anything playing in the theater.
Go ahead. You go first.
What can I recommend? Well, I'll recommend another horror movie. I've been watching a lot of horror movies This was more of a suspense film, but it's Stir of Echoes, starring Kevin Bacon. Do you remember this one?
No.
Oh, okay. It's actually pretty good. I don't think it did as well as other movies that he's been in. But it's kind of a suspense ghost story. It's about Kevin Bacon gets hypnotized by his sister-in-law, played by Ileana Douglas, who I really like. And she basically hypnotizes him and then opens his mind up to like other spirits and stuff. So he starts getting these visions and flashes of stuff happening. His kid's already like a creepy, like Sixth Sense kid that can see ghosts. Like you always have to have those kids in these movies. And so, and it is, what it occurred to me as I'm watching it is that it really is Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He becomes obsessed with these visions. He starts digging in his backyard. He starts digging up his basement. He starts doing all the kinds of crazy stuff. He drives his family away, and they go off, and then they all kind of comes to a head. And it's a very satisfying story. It's kind of a small story. It's not like a huge. It's just a few people in this little neighborhood. But I really enjoyed it. And I thought, it's a better ending than Close Encounters because at least Kevin Bacon cares about his children. Roy Neary, Richard Dreyfuss did not care about his children in Close Encounters. He just goes off with the aliens and that's it. But at the end of Stir of Echoes, Kevin Bacon does end up with his family again. So
of course. And actually, Steven Spielberg himself said he would have changed that ending.
Yes, that's right,
yeah.
So anyway, Stir of Echoes, it's good. It's on Plex with a lot of ads, I'll say. A lot of ads.
Oh, boy.
So, whatever.
Very good. And I was trying to watch CBC Gem this week and it wouldn't even play. So I was like, I give up.
Okay.
I quit. So I'm going to recommend something I've recommended before because it's the last season. And so I'm going to do it because nobody's talking about this show. I don't know why, because it's one of the best shows ever made as far as I'm concerned. On HBO, it's My Brilliant Friend.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
Nope, it's My Brilliant Friend.
My Brilliant Friend. I don't think I've heard of this one.
I recommended it, I think, once before.
Oh, then I have heard of it. I don't remember.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And it's in its fourth and last season, and it's in Italian with English subtitles. Please don't let that stop you because it is it is great storytelling. The books that this is based on just landed in the New York Times top 100 books of all time. Nobody knows who the author is of the books, which is super interesting.
Like it's anonymous or what?
It's a pen name.
Oh, okay.
And so I went to, I'm like, I'm going to find out on Wikipedia. And I went there. I'm like, no, actually, nobody knows. It's pretty interesting. So, and you watch the show and it's amazing. It's so well constructed over the lifetime of the two main characters on the show. I'm not going to spoil anything, but so we're in the last season and we're kind of like bobbing along and I'm thinking like, well, this is kind of a nice, it's a bittersweet ending to a lovely show. And something so out of the blue horrifying happens in the last episode. So, and I was like, oh my God, like everyone's going to be talking about this online. And so I go online and it's like, not really. Like, and most of the people who are talking about are tweeting in Italian. Oh. And so it's, hey, big in Italy maybe, sure. But I just think this show is it's on Mondays on HBO. That doesn't help. If it was on Sundays, maybe more people would see it. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it is doing really well. I don't know on HBO. I just don't see any buzz for it. And it really is an incredible show. It's so well made. So it's My Brilliant Friend on HBO.
I'll check it out whenever I get HBO again.
Yeah, whenever that, and that you'll have to because The Penguin is also fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, it's really fantastic.
Before we go, I wanted to follow up on our conversation about the 3-body problem.
Yes,
which I finished watching. I had one more episode when we talked about it last week, and I thought it was fine.
Oh, you thought it was okay?
Yeah. What was your problem with it?
I just thought it ran out of gas at the end. I just thought that the setup was so compelling and interesting that by the time you get to it kind of gets less interesting as it goes along. I thought.
Yeah.
Now I don't know. Like, just could have been my take on it, but I just remember after seeing the last episode, just going, oh, so that's what this is all about. Oh, okay, all right.
I mean, fair. I think that there was certainly some weird turns in that final episode. Like, okay, spoiler alert if you don't want to be spoiled, but so the probe that they send, they basically cut this guy's head off and froze it and send it in a probe and that's what I liked about it. I'm like, this is fun. This is a cool science fiction-y thing that I would like. I've read books like this. So they send this probe, and the idea is that it's going to use nuclear weapons to accelerate it along this path. But something goes wrong and it goes off course. Now, are we to believe? You remember there's this part where the girl scientist who's like, I guess, loves this guy who's friends with this guy whose head is in the probe, puts some like seeds and stuff, because the idea is like the aliens will find him and they will rebuild him, but they'll also be able to grow food for him, like using the seeds. Are we to believe the weight of those seeds messed it up?
I don't know.
Do you remember that part where they're talking about that?
Yeah, I do remember, but they leave us there though.
Yeah, I know, but I think that there was like an implied
you think
thing
that's
that say that like she asked for these seeds to be put on there, and the guy said no, and then he comes back and said, okay, put the seeds on there, and then it goes off and goes off course. So was it because of the seeds? Anyway, it's kind of dumb, but it is a bit of a letdown, right? I think that was deliberate. Like I was excited for this thing to meet the aliens, and it does now. It seems like he's not going to, but I suspect he still will. Like I can't see them building up all this stuff with this character to not have him be reconstructed by aliens at some point.
I know,
right?
Yeah,
like, that's got to happen.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that happened in the last episode was Saul getting appointed to be this, whatever they call it, these special people who are only going to think. Because the aliens can spy on them at any time.
It's like the Supreme Court.
Yeah. The aliens can spy on them at any time without them knowing it. They have basically an imaginary camera that can go anywhere in the world and just look at whatever you're doing. So this idea is that these 3 people in the world are going to only think about what they want to do. They're not going to write anything down. They're only going to think of a plan. And then what? They're going to have to tell somebody eventually. How are they going to do this all by themselves? I don't know. But they have unlimited power. They can do whatever they want. They can go wherever they want. They have like the UN at their disposal. And Saul doesn't want it. Saul's like, no, I don't want this. And he like refuses it several times before he finally takes
That's
it on.
That's how you know he's right for the job.
Yeah, right, exactly, right? You don't want the responsibility. Yeah. So I kind of like that, and I'm looking forward to where it goes. It is coming back for a second season, unlike Chaos, which got canceled. I was pissed off about that. But I liked it. I thought 3 Body Problem was pretty good.
Well, that's now that you reminded me about the ending, I was like, yeah, I kind of would like to see how that turns out. So I'd probably watch it again too. Yeah. And once again, I didn't hate the show by any stretch. I just thought, like, if I'm choosing my favorite shows of the year kind of thing, I don't think it'd be in my top 20 kind of thing. But it was fine, I thought. And I was just surprised at how often it came up at the Emmys.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, I guess this is... I guess this was more out there, more people watching it than I thought.
Yeah. Huh. Anyway.
Yeah.
There you go. We'll see what happens with season 2 whenever that comes around. Probably another couple of years, the way these things work. Okay, that's going to do it for this episode of The Media Nerds. I'm Dan Badabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the door hit you on the ass.